WeatherXM update, this time with George Sarris, who is the head of site reliability engineering. George, thanks so much for making the time.
Thanks, Nick. Pleasure to be here.
I'm stoked. It's always cool to meet new members of the team. Looks like you're in the office today, which is pretty cool. Tell me what you do there. What does site reliability engineering mean?
Oh, well, thanks. So it means quite a few things. First of all, making sure that everything works. That's I guess the first thing. Make sure that our platform is working. That the development team is able to deliver all the new versions of the application, of all the components, really. And we know exactly how everything works. If something is not working, why it's not working. If it's performing as we set the target that is working, it's meeting the metrics we want. We are making sure that if any component is reporting any issues, we know about it.
Yep.
So we can capture if something comes up as early as possible. I'm making sure that if any of the components fail, the application still continues to work. So everything is reliable. Working super hard
job
to make. Yeah.
So this is the website, the app, the database. Like it's kind of everything that people maybe see
everything
on the internet.
Oh, even the components that people don't see, but behind the scenes are part of the engine, really. So everything is working and is able to scale. So, if suddenly we can get 10 times more stations sending data and 10 times more users querying, well, what's the metrics? It's still going to respond in a timely manner.
Got it. So you're building this thing not only for where it is right now, but also for where it'll be in a month, in 6 months, in a year's time, and its ability to kind of maybe elastically scale and say like, okay, we went from 4,000 or 7,000 to 10,000 to 15,000 to 40,000.
Exactly. Everything that we do and design is always, we always have in mind that this is not for today, and not even for tomorrow. So probably for the day after. So it should be from my checklist, if for something to get my thumbs up, my approval, and say yeah, it's a good idea. For me, it needs to be able to scale indefinitely. As realistic as that can be. No matter if we have 4,500 or 7,000 stations, it has to be a way to make sure it will work if we go 10 times, 100 times. That's a key for me, among other stuff. So other things involve like capacity planning. Obviously, for when we talk about data, make sure there is enough capacity. A key part of the work is to make sure that if something breaks, and I repeat that before, but if something breaks, make sure that no user is affected by that until that component is restored. So things like self-healing are key and priority. And last but not least, proper security. If it's not secure, it's not good.
Right. Now, do you get the kind of support tickets directly? Do they come to you, or do they get filtered through someone else and you'll suddenly see like, oh, we're getting a bunch of tickets about X, Y, and Z? Or are you also seeing that internally most of the time?
Both. But there are a lot of times that things are filtered early and they come to me and I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll have to take a look. Sometimes I get things, people that are messaging me and poking and say, hey, did you see that? And straight away, okay, this is for me. But yeah, both ways, I guess.
Okay. And then what are the big challenges? Obviously, scalability is one of them. But when you look forward for the next, short term, 1 month, midterm, 6 months, long term, a year, what are the things that you see like, okay, this is something that we're going to have to work on and make sure is good, or this is the next big challenge?
For me, that's a very good question. For me, one of the never-ending projects in a company, regardless of the size, shape, or stage in the company's life, is observability. Make sure that all the metrics, everything we have, is correct. I mean, there is it's better to not have an idea about if something is happening rather than get false data. So make sure that everything is correct, that we have a very
Okay.
good understanding of how everything performs before, because when we get to token launch and everything, we have to be super accurate. There is no room for mistake.
Right. Yeah, yeah, no, I'm sure that most of the community will agree with that. I know that right now in
Everyone
Discord,
really.
we just released the big Excel file, and that was, despite saying like, hey, a lot of this is just the test stuff. People are like, oh, where's my tokens, where's my stuff? So that's got to be something that you're really getting kind of ready for and making sure that
Yeah.
it's totally correct. Let's see, on the app side, you're interacting with with the blockchain, with wallets, with the rest of it. Tell me a little bit about some of the difficulties with that, or is it just super, super easy and that part is actually really straightforward? It seems like it'd be the most complicated part for me, but yeah, talk
It's
to me about that.
complicated for everyone, really.
Okay,
Apart from,
thank God.
everyone who's already writing the code in the app, and they have the best knowledge on that part. Like, the team working on the Web3 part.
Hmm.
From my perspective, it's making sure that everything is running timely, reliably, and if something comes up, we need to make sure that no mistakes are done. And that's crucial, right? It's best to delay something when it gets. That's at least that's my the best of my understanding on this is make sure you can delay a few minutes is okay, as long as what you calculate and obviously allocate is correct.
Yeah. And that lines up with my experience of the WeatherXM team is that different teams do things different ways. Some teams will just YOLO and be like, yeah, let's see what happens. But the WeatherXM team seems to be pretty careful about saying, hey, let's make sure we take the time to get this thing right, and then we'll push it out. So it seems kind of very engineering forward.
Yeah, and these are the things that I appreciate from day one. Really, it's we
Okay.
just we all the people here are in no rush to just you know push something in production, and we'll see afterwards. We try to test as much as possible, and mistakes can happen. We just make sure we learn from them and not repeat them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's super cool to see when, just out of curiosity, when you're coming into, let's see, you spend most of your time at the office or at home, or either one.
Well, as a full-time dad, I try to get to the office as much as possible because otherwise it can get very noisy and and it affects productivity. But yeah, most of the time I'll say I'm in the office.
And then are you looking at kind of 10 screens in front of you and there's like all these numbers and colors and the rest of it, stuff's like blaring red when something breaks? Or is it is it different than that?
No, not really. I actually opt for a single monitor setup. I think
Okay.
it's less distraction. Is always good. But no, the whole setup, the whole configuration of that does not require someone to look at the screen 24/7. If something is wrong, the monitoring platform will reach out to you. So
Okay.
it doesn't require someone to be 24/7 on the monitor looking. Eyes on monitor, no, it's not the approach. Otherwise, I wouldn't do
Not the way
anything
to
else
do
really.
it. That's funny. Cool. And then maybe we wrap up. Is there anything that is you think would be surprising to the average community member that you do or you have to do on an average day or an average week that we don't think about? Like I open the app, I kind of expect it to work. Is there anything on the back end that you're like, oh, well, this is something that happens every single time you use it that you might not think about?
Uh, well, we open the app. I do it every morning, right? Or at least every morning, and you see, weather station, weather data, rewards, and everything. There are so many things happening from starting the app all the way that to the point that we see the results. But
Mm.
from my perspective, I guess one thing that people don't know is that the number of transactions. So every time we hit the database, it's a transaction. So the number
Okay.
of transactions that happening every second on peak time, then sometimes they reach thousands. The
Holy
thousands per
smokes.
second. So when you open the app, It's a call to the database to confirm that the user is correct and has access to blah, blah, blah. And then you get the metrics, and then you get the rewards, and then all that. It can be thousands of transactions per second. It can be like I'm paying very close attention to the database, obviously, because it's crucial.
Yeah.
And you can see figures going really high. And I always keep an eye that we don't hit any limit, and if we need to increase and it's a But hey, everyone opens the app, the data are there, fast, and so we're all happy, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's almost always worked really well for me. And the times that it hasn't, I just come back in a minute, or like I'll try it again and it works the second time. So for me, like the experience with WeatherXM, whether it's the M5 or the app or the website, it's been pretty easy. I know that's not the case for everyone. I see on Discord where people are like, oh, this thing isn't working, or that thing's not working. But overall, it just seems like what you're doing as far as site reliability appears to be working. So good job.
Well, it's not just me. Everyone is working really, really hard. And I guess, when I joined, there were more issues. I'm happy to report that we've reduced the number and the frequency. So yeah, we're all working really, really hard to make sure that everyone has a great experience using the app, and gets the job done really in an efficient, fast, and reliable way.
Yeah, that all those transactions clear on the back end.
Oh yeah.
George, thanks a ton for taking the time. I really appreciate
Pleasure,
you
Nick.
making it. I know that you guys are busy, so thanks for coming on.
Pleasure is all mine. Thanks, Nick.